Hello, listeners. Beaveman here. So, I was told that the way to make your podcast more listenable, is that even a word? More interesting for other folks is to have some sort of advertisement at the very beginning. Well, just so you know, we don't have any advertisers, we don't have any sponsors. So, the plan is from now on, before each segment of Beaveman and The Doc, we're going to do basically a spotlight on local artists, projects, or any events you'd like us to potentially share in the coming episodes. So if you have something that you would like us to share, just email us at beavemanandthedoc@gmail.com. That's beavemandthedoc@gmail.com with your submissions. This week's local spotlight is Skylar Beavers. He does the intro and outro music you hear on the podcast on almost every episode. If you like what you hear, you can search Skylar Beavers on Google or wherever you listen to music. That's Skylar Beavers, SKYLARBEAVERS. So now, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Beaveman and the Doc.
Yo, what the fuck is up? I've been gone for a minute, but I never back it up, ayy. They say I've been slacking for a month, but you can shut your mouth, cause I only run it up like, who the fuck are you? I've been living up while I rep the red and blue. I just wanna know what the fuck you wanna do, and you can't come for me, cause I'm just hitting snooze.
Okay, welcome to Beaveman and the Doc. As you know, I am the Beaveman.
And I'm the Doc.
All right, so Doc, how you been, man?
Tired?
You look tired.
I haven't slept much.
Why is that?
Studying, man.
Studying? That's
Anatomy.
lame. Studying. That's
Yeah.
lame.
I'm a nerd. What can you expect?
What are you learning about anatomy?
Anatomy.
Like what? Okay. All
Right now we're studying the skeletal system and muscle system.
Yeah.
Muscular system, I should say.
Or if you want to combine it, you can say the musculoskeletal system.
Yeah, but that wouldn't make the teacher happy
Why not?
because she considers them two separate systems.
She would be correct. They are two separate systems.
But they often learn them at the same time because they have so much in common.
Yes, they do.
So,
How's the exercise program coming along?
exercise.
Yeah. You're exercising, right? You exercise.
I think I stepped on the scale at about 230 pounds this morning.
What did the scale say?
The scale said, ouch.
The scale said, one at a time. So, this week I thought it would be fun to just do some random crap. You know, do you remember what the tabloids were like when we were younger?
Oh, there was always dumb shit in the tabloids.
Yeah, like good dumb shit though, right? Like aliens and like, lizard babies and all kinds of cool stuff like that.
Or some woman somewhere claiming that the father of her baby was Elvis or something.
Yeah, like good stuff. Or like you'd see Jesus in a piece of cheese or something.
Yeah.
So I thought I would get some tabloids and see if I could find some interesting stuff in them. And do you know they pretty much suck now? They're just like, one, it's bad reporting. Two, it's horrible grammar. Three, it's horrible writing in general. And it all seems to be about the royals.
Or political stuff.
Not even like good political stuff. I did find something that I thought you might find really interesting, though.
Okay.
You like yoga, right?
I don't have anything against it, but
I mean, I like yoga for one specific reason.
why?
I like to see women in yoga pants.
Oh, well,
That's
yeah,
about it.
there is that.
So, as if people aren't stupid enough, did you know there's such a thing as goat yoga?
Believe it or not, I saw something about that recently.
So you would think that it's just the idiots like in LA or New York City.
No, idiots are everywhere.
Yeah. No, they're doing goat yoga here locally also. So let me paint the picture here. So you're gonna do yoga. Okay, nothing wrong with yoga. I like yoga. It's good for chronic pain. Okay. So I'm doing I'm gonna do some like downward dog or baby cobra, and there's gonna be goats wandering all over the place while I'm doing it.
And what is the purpose of this?
I don't know. I guess people want to get shit on.
Spreading staph infection.
I guess somebody wants them to shit on them and or piss on them and maybe chew on a body part while you're trying to do your yoga.
Have some E. coli.
Yeah, hey. Yeah, exactly. And, the pictures here were like they're on their back. This one's got its tail lifted like it's just going to take like a huge dump on you. That makes me just want to like feed the goats like all kinds of crap and just see if they can just explosive diarrhea all over somebody.
That's the it seems like it's so counterproductive because yoga is supposed to be all about the whole Zen thing. And if you're, oh shit, I've got a goat in my house. What's he eating now? You know what I mean? How are you supposed to focus inward when you're worried about things going on around you?
Oh, so you're talking about like doing yoga in your home? Like you go get a goat, rent a goat to bring and do yoga at home?
I don't know. Isn't that what these fools do?
No, they're like, it's like big, like get-togethers and like in yoga, what do you call them? Like yoga, what's a yoga studio? Yeah, where they bring in the goats, man. Apparently they did it down the road here.
It would make more sense if they just went out in the woods. The whole nature thing,
Right.
But
Also, I'm saying, is your life so stupid that you decided that you're going to have a goat crawl all over you while you do yoga? To me, that's like, I can't even wrap my head around that. Why the fuck would I want to do that?
I don't think I would even do yoga.
I mean, like, I'm good with doing yoga, but why
But
the
at
fuck
least
would
it
you
has
have
a point.
goat? Why would you have a goat crawl over you? And like, it's already bad enough if you got to do yoga with a bunch of people who are fucking ugly. And
Maybe.
you know what? If I was doing yoga, okay, well, so I'm like on the ground, I've got my head looking up, and a goat walks in front of me, and all you see is like goat ass or like dangling nuts or something like that. That's almost like I walked in on a naked dude, because when we're bent over naked, we basically look like a goat got into the house. So I'm like, well, was this a dude? Is it a midget in front of me? No, it's a fucking goat. Why? I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. Goats, first of all, they're just disgusting. And people have them for pets, too. Like in their house. I don't get that either.
No.
So I thought that would be interesting, some goat yoga. Wouldn't you like to do some goat yoga? Fuck no, I don't want to do goat yoga. It's fucking retarded.
People are nuts.
No, I don't get it.
They're probably the kind of people I'd find in my sociology class.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're like higher up in society and you get richer, you eat more bullshit too. Like these are the people that are like, oh, so if I get richer, does that mean I've got to eat like I got to eat kidneys and organ meat and all that other stuff because it's fancy? So I'm going to take the waste products from the animal and I'm going to eat those because now I'm rich and I can appreciate it more.
Did you know, speaking of eating waste products, in Japan, they actually found a way, and I don't know why, but they would reprocess feces into something that they would consider a steak. So they make poop steaks and serve them.
Where are you getting this info?
It's true.
Oh, I'm just saying it's true doesn't mean it's true. Where would you get that info?
Well, at the risk of sounding foolish, the internet.
Oh,
but,
okay.
I've seen it in more than one source, and it happens to be a real thing. They make poop steak. I think I saw it on Science Channel too.
Why? So poop from what?
Humans.
From humans.
Humans.
Why would you use poop from humans?
Because they're all about efficiency, trying to find ways to make more food. I mean, they were trying to find a way to make jellyfish, or
they're surrounded by the ocean. They've got all the food in the world.
I know, but
Why would they need to make poop? Why would they need to make food out of their shit? Assuming you're correct, why would they need to do that? Well, let's figure this out then. So, in most Asian nations, right, they have a lower incidence of colon cancer. Okay, colon cancer is higher in nations like ours, and they speculate that reason is because we consume more red meat.
red meat and lack of exercise and
Well, in general, it's less fiber, more red meat, whatever. So we have a higher incidence of colon cancer than an Asian nation.
I believe.
However, they have a higher incidence of stomach cancer than we have
What, from the drinking?
because they shit in their rice fields. They use human feces for the majority of their fertilizer.
Really?
So that causes them to have a higher incidence of stomach cancer. So even though that might be more, that's efficient or whatever, that's what they speculate actually causes a higher
Maybe they were
incidence.
trying to come up with some kind of a meat substitute.
There's no nutritional value in shit.
I know.
So, one, I'm going to hope that you were just completely wrong and that is not even remotely accurate.
It's a real thing. I don't know how popular it is, but it did happen.
So that gives new meaning to the poo-poo platter.
Exactly.
The poo-poo platter. So I thought that I would ask you a couple questions.
42.
42 what?
Dude, you've never seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. 42.
Okay.
Carry on.
Do you hate anything about yourself physically?
Yeah, I don't like it that I'm overweight. I should do something about it. For some reason, I don't.
Okay. That's the only thing you hate? That's pretty good if that's all you hate. That's pretty good. I'm actually impressed. So you only hate that you're overweight?
Pretty much.
Okay. Man, you got some good self-confidence.
I like myself. What can I say?
Let me tell you what I hate about myself. It's a long list.
Uh-oh.
For one thing, my head is very oddly shaped. If you look at the side profile of my head, it kind of looks like a squished egg. You see that?
No.
No? I mean, to me, that's what it looks like. It looks like an egg. So it's not like perfectly rounded. It's like my forehead is squished in, and it's making the rest of my head look like oblong. So I can't fix that. There's nothing I can do about that. I can't plate my head. I feel like that if I was little, I would be one of those kids who got the helmet, to reshape his head. Because, that's why those kids wear those helmets, right? Is because they decided, I'm going to put them on the back all the time. Next thing you know, that kid's got a flat head. You see a lot of adults. You see adults with flat heads.
Those kids wore the helmets was because, in my school, there was one guy, he had seizures on occasion.
Okay,
and he wore
back
the
in our
helmet
day, that's why they wore helmets. That's not why they wear helmets now, but the majority of the time. The reason why they wear helmets now is because everybody's putting their kids on their backs and they're flattening their freaking heads.
Huh.
So then they have to put them on in a helmet to reshape their head. And you'll see kids I would say probably now they would be probably in their 20s. They're walking around with fucking flat heads in the back because they were on their back all the time because, technology always changes and they're like, oh, you got to put your kid on their back to sleep. Well, instead of having their kid on their belly when they're not asleep, people were leaving their kids on their backs and hence the flat-headed kids you see running around.
I used, with my kids when they were growing up, I put them in the car seat. So the weight wasn't exactly on the back of their head. They spent a lot of time sleeping in their car seat more than their crib.
Well, your kids have flat heads.
No, they don't. Interestingly enough. In fact, there was one time they were still in the car seat, and instead of waking them up, I just took the car seat and put it in the crib.
I'm pretty sure your kids have flat heads. I think that if your son was to bend his head down, I could probably rest my beer on top of his head.
I doubt it.
No? Oh, well. So that's one thing that I don't like. The other thing I don't like is, there's lots of things that I don't like. I'm going to say, also...
I don't like, about me, I don't like certain things. I don't like my picture from certain angles because it shows my hairline as receding.
Uh-huh.
But
what angle does it not show your hairline receding?
well, if I let my hair go loose, it hides it a lot better. But
okay, there's not much you're going to be able to do about that.
no,
Unless you start getting some hair replacements.
I've kind of accepted it.
Well, I mean, that's not too bad. If that's all you think is bad, I mean, I could go on and on about everything wrong with me. Well, let's see. What else? my right eye is squintier than my left eye. I'm thinking about getting plastic surgery.
Really?
Yeah, to get my eyelid resected, or what they call a blepharoplasty, where they repair the eyelid so that your eyes look like they're wider open. Yeah, I think in most of my pictures it looks like I had a freaking stroke.
I gotta say, I think it'd be a waste of money.
Well, and then I thought, well, is there any way that I can get my eyelid to do extra exercise to get rid of the fat that's in there so that it doesn't look like it's always falling down? But there's nothing I can do about that either. Unfortunately, it's just a great, giant, big mess. The other thing that bothers me as I go on and on, you know how, you watch porn, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so.
Everybody does.
You ever notice in porn there's a lot of guys who have, like, their penises have, I guess I would say, loss of pigment in areas, where they've got white patches on them and stuff like that. Basically, vitiligo of the penis.
I can't say that I noticed.
You don't notice the penis when you're watching porn.
No, not really.
How can you not see the penis? I mean, the majority of the time the woman's doing something with the penis, so how do you not see the penis?
You skip that part and get on to the good part that shows more of her and less of him.
Such a homophobe. You are such a homophobe.
It's not a homophobe
You are
thing.
too. You're
I just
a
know what I
homophobe.
like, and I don't want to waste time looking at something I don't like.
Okay, well, let me tell you that there's a lot of porn out there with people with vitiligo of the penis. So, in other words, vitiligo is the absence of the melanocytes in the tissue. Melanocytes would give us pigment. That's pretty common for that. So, got this one little discoloration. It's like two-tone, and I'm not too happy with that. I mean, I could go on and on about the fact that it's already small, but I'm not too happy with the
circumcision,
two-tone.
in the scar tissue area,
No, it's not that.
that causes a different tone.
Well, that's not it. That's not what my problem is. But hey, interestingly enough, do you have an iPhone, or what kind of phone do you have?
It's an iPhone.
You have an iPhone. Did you do your update?
Of course.
Did you see now that it has a measuring and leveling tool on it?
No.
There's a measuring tool on it now, so digital measuring.
I thought it had one before.
Mine didn't, but now it did. When I updated it, it's on there. So, what do you think was the first thing I thought of when I saw that?
You wanted to measure something?
Yeah, I want to measure something. Like, what should I measure with this? So just imagine what I thought I should measure with it, just to see if it was accurate. Yeah.
So you took a picture of your junk and used that picture to measure it. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that that was the first thing that I thought of when I saw it.
Ah,
That doesn't mean I did it. That just means that was the first thing I thought of.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, what did you think of?
I don't know, leveling pictures on the wall?
Lame. Lame. Why would you think about leveling pictures? Oh, I don't know. I see that picture seems to be just a bit canted to the left. Let me
Because-
bust out my iPhone and do some leveling.
My family knows this about me, that things like that drive me nuts and they think it's funny. So they'll walk by and they'll make a picture crooked just to sit and watch me try and fix it. They'll leave a door open or a knife halfway out of the block or whatever.
I don't mind telling you guys, I'm about to do some leveling. Wow, yeah, okay. Well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just odd like that, and I guess that's, I guess I have an issue. I guess I do. So, do you, the other thing that really bothers me is that my lower body is bigger than my upper body.
Did you do a lot of running recently?
No, I'm just genetically like that. I just have gigantic legs. Like, even if you put me next to a bodybuilder, I would make their legs look small.
I've been told that my legs were disproportionate before, but, she said that she liked that about me.
Some girl said to you, your legs are disproportionate.
They said they were too big.
They said your legs were too big. Just in casual conversation.
Not too big, but...
In casual conversation, some chick's like, hey man, your legs are too big.
Yeah. Well, technically, it's casual.
Okay.
Yeah. In that circumstance, it was. But
I don't even know what to say about that. Which way do your legs go? Do they go straight down or do they go to the outside?
Straight down?
Do they knock knee or not?
Not.
Not. See, yeah, well, you're just obviously the perfect human specimen. I'm just some sort of alien. Okay.
Why, your knees knock together when you walk?
No, my legs go in and then my lower legs go out. And then my knees lock back. I have to actually always bend my knees so that they don't lock back.
I have more muscle on the lateral side of my calves than the medial side.
How do you know that?
I can see it.
Okay. That's odd.
It shows more. So the outside of my leg kind of rounds out. And the inside of my leg is straight right along the tibia. So
Like completely flush with it.
it almost looks that way. That's
I mean-
probably why it hurts when I run.
Well, there's probably other reasons why it hurts when you run. You know.
I get shin splints real easy.
Well, probably the reason why it hurts when you run is when you were in the Navy. So, you know.
What's that got to do with anything? Here we go.
Low fitness tolerance.
No, I used to run 3 miles a day.
3 miles a day.
Yeah.
I used to do that on my way to the freaking work. 3 miles a day. Pfft, that's nothing.
How far did you swim?
Why would I swim? I was in the Army. What the hell would I do swimming?
Hey, I'm just saying.
Was I in a crash or something where I had to be swimming?
I swam every chance I got.
You swum?
Swum.
You swum as much as you could. That kind of brings me to an interesting point too. Is there anything that people say that just annoys the shit out of you? I mean, other than opening their mouths and speaking in general.
It depends on what they're saying it about.
Okay, so let me tell you one of the things that annoys the shit out of me. And people expect it, and it drives me crazy. When people find out when you were if you were in the military.
Oh, thank you for your service.
I fucking hate that. Okay? That drives me up a goddamn wall.
Well, did you hear what they're trying to do now?
No.
They are trying to change the definition of a veteran to social warriors.
Huh?
So, in other words, if you were a organized protester, that you would gain veteran status and veterans benefits. This is a real thing. It's all over the news last night.
I don't understand. So
They're trying to redefine what a veteran is to include people who never served in the armed forces.
that makes so little sense. And where was this? What news was this on? Now I gotta find that out.
It was on Fox News.
On Fox News.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's a reputable. That's a reputable source. So you mean to tell me, so people that were never in the military, they want to call themselves veterans?
Correct.
For what purpose?
Because they for example, the Black Lives Matter people, because they're fighting for change and changing the good of the nation and all that. They say that they qualify as veterans because they're serving our country.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're serving themselves, but that's another story.
I don't understand why you would want to be called a veteran if you didn't serve. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, it's the same reason they try and redefine other things.
I guess.
If you can redefine something, you control it.
Well,
It's the same reason. It's the same reason in sociology that you can't just say facts. You have to say social facts. It's so much of a fact they have to give it a different name. It's not a fact. A fact is a fact.
And that's a fact,
Jack.
I can't even wrap my head around that. I think that probably what would happen with that is if that was like an actual real push, then there's going to be a lot of people getting their asses beat.
I think so.
Because
there's going to be a lot of angry real veterans.
Yeah.
Me being one of them, I do not like the idea. I find it offensive that they would even try and redefine something. Come up with a new term. And if
Yeah, I got one. Douchebag.
if people want to admire them for what they've done, then they can have a different holiday. You know, God knows, I'd love an extra day off at work. So,
I never get the holiday off anyway.
well,
I don't.
medical field, that's what you get.
Right, but what would be? I just don't understand what the purpose is of trying to, redefine or utilize that term for their own benefit.
Trying to glorify people who agree with them.
It kind of reminds me of, and I'm probably going to piss off some of the military listeners, but I don't care. It kind of reminds me of when I went to, years ago, God, it has to be 6 or so years ago. I went to Fort Bragg. They were having the division review, and it was the first division review they'd had in a while, I guess, because, of all the conflicts that we have that, our soldiers are battling day to day that everybody continues to forget about, that's still going on. And need I remind everybody that the majority of our young troops that are serving don't even remember 9/11 because they were little kids, but they're still
They're the ones fighting for it.
They're the ones fighting for it. And it's completely ridiculous because my son is older than, he's 20, but he was what? 5 then? 4 or 5 then? Whatever.
9/11, 2001.
Yeah, so 17.
So he was 3?
He was 3, yeah. So, and he doesn't remember it. So it's completely ridiculous when you think about it. But, so I was at Fort Bragg, I'm chatting with some infantry soldiers there. And when I had gone onto the fort, I'd seen all these, people walking around, and uniforms change. Uniforms change. Yeah, I don't know what. I know the SEALs have a badge, a patch or that they wear on their chest and everything. And well, we have those too, obviously, but I wore 3 different ones. I had an expert infantry badge, and I had my airborne badge, and I had my air assault badge. But there was one there that I'd never seen before, and it looked like it was basically a bayonet. It was a bayonet on a patch. So it was this bayonet on a patch, and people were wearing it on their chest. And they had I can't remember if they had a wreath around it or whatever, and I couldn't figure out what the hell it was. I'd never seen it before. I'm like, what the fuck is that thing? I don't know what it is.
Oh, I recognize it. Okay.
So it was not something that was there when I was in. So I finally, I'm talking to these 2 guys, and I was like, what? I'm like, what is that? What is that badge? I don't understand what that is.
Is that their marksmanship qualification?
No, that's not marksmanship. It's a badge that they give to people who are not infantry if they have to log so many encounters or firefights that they took part in or were near or in and around. So again, it's somebody decided that they got sick of looking at the infantry's badge that they have, because there's 2 of them, okay, basically. There's the expert infantry badge, which is a badge that you earn by doing all these tasks, passing all these tasks, and you get the badge awarded.
So it's like the runner-up prize.
That little bayonet badge or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just another thing where they were, where some fucking retard was upset about, having to look at an infantryman's badge and saying, well, we want one for the rest of us. And it's obviously really high up. Some general who's not an infantryman, I'm assuming, made that stupid decision, and because they wanted it. Okay, well, you can't have it. There's a reason why we have that. So all they're doing is it's just like the kids who are like, we've got blue ribbons all the way down to 12th place.
Yeah. I never got a Purple Heart. Why does he get one and I don't?
Yeah, it's freaking stupid. So I'm sitting there getting pissed off. I'm like, and I've been out for years and years and years. I'm like, what the fuck? They got to have something that looks like ours, but because they're not infantry, they just want to try to identify and be like us. And it just pisses me off. Even the guys that I knew, when I was in, I came in right after, Gulf War I or the Desert RTEP or whatever you want to call it. I was in high school when that happened. The 100 Days War, and I was already in. So, when I got in, I knew a lot of guys who were in Desert Storm. And a lot of them had what we call the combat infantryman's badge. So they've got the rifle and they've got the wreath around it that signifies that they were in combat. And then they wear a patch on their right shoulder. Okay, whatever. Well, a lot of the guys I knew didn't have what they call the expert infantry badge. They didn't have one. You have to do all these tasks to get it, and it's not always an easy thing to get. But, just because they have the combat infantry badge doesn't mean they have the expert one. And so they have to try to get that one too, but you don't see any difference. It's just they still wear the combat one. But now you've got all these freaking retards wanting that stuff. It's just like the same thing. When I was in the Rangers, the Ranger battalions, super cool. Most people want to be a Ranger. They wore black berets. Everybody wanted to have a black beret. You want someday to be a Ranger or whatever, so you can have the black beret.
So now they got what, red ones or whatnot?
No. Some douchebag came along, some general fucking prick ass came along when I was in the Guard and said, "Oh, we're taking the black beret away from the Rangers, and everybody's going to wear a black beret. Everybody's going to wear a black beret except for the units that have their own designated beret, but everybody's going to wear a black beret, and then we're going to give the Rangers this little freaking sand dirt fucking colored beret." So some douchebag who didn't get to wear a beret or didn't get to wanted to wear a beret so badly, he decided he was going to give everybody a beret, and so everybody had to wear a black beret, and I refused to wear them. I'm like, I'm not fucking wearing that. So it's just all these fucking wannabes, and
you know what I would have done if I were that general? I would have taken a lesson from the Navy and made them wear one of those stupid Dixie Cup hats.
Well, the thing is, if you spent, if you were, when you're a young soldier, and your dream is to be a paratrooper or whatever, a Ranger, a Green Beret or something like that, you dream of wearing that beret and getting that beret and having it. But once you got it, and you have to wear it all the time, it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass to shape it. It's a pain in the ass because it leaves a fucking sun mark across your fucking face. It's a pain in the ass because it doesn't keep the sun out of your eyes. It's hot. It's a pain in the ass. But lots of people want to wear one, but the people who want to wear one aren't the people who wear them all the time.
Maybe that's why they gave the black ones to everybody and gave the people who actually earned it one that was lighter in color so it'd be cooler.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they did it for strictly for keeping their heads cool. Oh, I'm sure that's why they did it. Yeah, it didn't have anything to do with jealousy. It had nothing to do with jealousy at all. I'm like, but that's the thing is they took something that's respected. They took something that was respected and time honored, and something that all those the Rangers and battalion or whatever they aspired to have someday, and they just shit on it and gave it to everybody. So, some freaking douchebag, not saying anything bad about supply, but some douchebag who works in supply and can't do more than 20 push-ups gets to wear the same freaking black beret that traditionally was the beret of the Rangers.
You ever seen Idiocracy?
No.
Oh. It's got Luke Wilson in it, and it's basically about the dumbing down of America over time. And he was a supply sergeant, and he got transferred to a special project where they were doing an experiment called the Hibernation Project or something to that effect, and he wound up being in hibernation for 500 years. When he woke up, the whole country was dumb, and they explain what happens, the dumbing down of America, in the first opening credits of the show. So I don't want to ruin it, but the show is absolutely absurd, but it is funny.
And and your point was
he was a supply sergeant.
Your point was this very brief commercial of this movie.
He was a supply sergeant.
Oh, and you know what else happened to me? Oh, and I just got to keep ranting about
Lead,
this
follow,
now.
get out of the way, he said.
So this is what else happened, right? So I left Germany. This was 93. Okay, so I left Germany. Had this really cool unit that I was in. Loved this unit. Great unit. So I get to Fort Bragg, and I'm in awe because I came from this tiny post in Germany, right? So now I'm finally stateside at one of those, very respected fort, home of the airborne. So I'm driving along the main road there, kind of Ardennes, driving along, and I see some Green Berets. And I was like, holy shit, Green Berets, really sweet. There was two groups there back in the day. And then I'm driving along and I see more Green Berets. I'm like, man, I didn't really realize there were that many goddamn Green Berets. Driving along a little farther, I see this woman walk by who's pregnant, wearing tennis shoes, wearing a Green Beret. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I'm like, I didn't know. I was really confused because I was like, what's going on here? I'm like, all of a sudden we have women that are Green Berets in Special Forces. So I was really confused. So back then, when I first got there, if you were attached to the unit, everybody wore the same thing. So if you were a female attached to, in support of Special Forces group, or SOG, or whatever they were, a Special Ops group, they could wear the Green Beret. Thankfully, that all changed, and they took that away from them. Thank God. But it was not uncommon to drive onto the fort and see a bunch of people who wore Green Berets who were not Green Berets. So it just all goes back to this. It's just all such bullshit, which brings us back to this. Why on earth would you want to call yourself a veteran if you're not a fucking veteran? Why on earth do you want to call yourself something that you're not? I'm not going to say...
Because they consider themselves to be fighting a different kind of war, as they would put it.
Okay, so if we want to talk about... Let's talk about, like, who do we consider, like, the most... What's the most oppressed thing that you could think of to be in America? I'm going to say black, Jewish female. I would say... That's my pick. Black, Jewish female.
Add lesbian to that.
Okay.
Or better yet, trans.
Okay, trans, Jewish, female, who's black. Okay, was she originally female and she wants to be a male, or is she male and wants to be female? Because that makes it a little bit difficult. We get the point.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, we get the point. They're transgender, they're black, they're Jewish.
They're confused and odd.
I don't know if they're odd. They're just confused. But I'm talking about this subset of people that are, have every strike against them in our American society.
Right.
Okay? All right. So if I start, getting on the bandwagon and supporting this subculture, that means that all of a sudden now I can identify myself as a black, transgender, Jewish female when I am none of those things? Is that what they're saying?
No, they're saying that if you picked up the flag and started campaigning on their behalf, that you would qualify as a veteran.
Okay. Well,
for doing so.
So it's just so bullshit. The whole thing is bullshit. I was listening to another podcast, and I thought it was a really good podcast because it was Dave Navarro. Dave Navarro has a podcast. I like Dave Navarro. He's cool. So I listened to a couple of his podcasts. Really good podcasts. Okay, well, then I listened to one of them, and it had Moby on it, and I made it like maybe 20 to 30 minutes through that one because I'm like, okay, he started insulting, because they all want to bash on the current government situation, right?
I'm not sure who Moby is.
Moby, he's a douchebag who does electro tech music, whatever bullshit.
Oh, whatever.
He's a douchebag.
Okay.
Anyway, douchebag. He basically doesn't play any, he does everything on a computer or whatever. He can go fuck himself. He's a piece of shit. Super famous, more famous than I'll ever be, more rich than I'll ever be. I don't give a fuck. He's still a piece of shit. Anyway, so this piece of shit, they always got to talk about the current government and how it's so wrong and how they do things so much better because entertainers, they should have a total good political, viewpoint that the masses should follow because they're geniuses. Anyway, talking shit about the current government. Now, I will say that I voted for Trump, okay? Not because I like Trump, but because I don't like Hillary.
Correct.
Because she was a fucking crook. Okay, Trump may be a crook also, but you know what? At least, she's a crook that we all knew she was a crook and she never got in trouble for anything she fucking did. But the point being...
I can tell you now that in the next election, people are going to be voting against the Democrats for screwing Bernie. So...
Well, that's true. Bernie should have been president. But that...
Yeah, he would have been.
He should have been. But the point is they're talking about, because everybody's favorite thing to do is talk about the Trump administration. Okay, whatever, talk about the Trump administration. Okay, you would do so much better, blah, blah, blah. My whole point on the Trump administration is I can understand why people get upset. On the other hand, this is comedy gold. So why be so pissed about it when you can just laugh about something? Because when it all comes down to it, how much does what the government really do affect your day-to-day life? Really, not that much.
The problem is it's so easy to make fun of. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's so easy. It's just not funny.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're gonna make some fun of something, at least look at it from this. I'm like, we haven't had this funny of a president since George W. So at least use the comedy from it.
Well, there was a cartoon that I thought was pretty funny. It's my president or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. Doggone it! But it's got Trump in it, and it's a recent cartoon. And from the ads that I saw in the commercials, it looked like it was pretty funny. They made fun of Trump, of course, but it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Trump's not all pissed off about it, so it can't be all bad.
Well, they had sitcoms too, like when George W. was in office. They had comedy sitcoms, like on the minor networks.
Well, you've seen Will Ferrell's impersonations of George W.
No.
Oh, yeah, he does a great impersonation.
No, I don't have regular TV. I'm a Netflix person.
Ah.
But so anyway, my point is, again, they wanted to talk. Your leather jacket makes a lot of noise. I'm picking up on the mics. I was talking about how I was listening to this podcast, right? So I can tolerate a lot of stuff, but when they start talking about things that they act like they know by association, they started talking about things like, oh, the government and how all these idiots are out there saying that, they would be able to stand up against the government but in reality, the government has all these high-tech weapons and they would never be able to do anything against it and they would never be able to rebel and because all these people with guns are too fat to get their fingers in the trigger well. They can't, and what are they going to do? Shoot somebody from sitting in their Amigo or their whatever, their little scooter? And he just kept saying that over and over again. And he kept saying about how, well, I know about the military because my family was in the military. Or I know about guns because my dad had guns. I'm like, dude, you don't know fucking anything. I don't sit there and act like I know something about something without actually having done it firsthand. I don't do that. And that drives me crazy. And he just kept talking about how, oh yeah, the veterans, they can't even fit their fingers in the trigger well. I'm like, well, I got news for you, pal. That is not the case. And if that was the case, even if they couldn't fit their fingers in a trigger well, you know what they would do? They'd have the knowledge to remove the trigger well.
I was going to say, they'd cut the finger guard off of there.
So people like that just drive, and that's why that's why I'm like, okay, so love Dave Navarro, like his podcast, he has that dickhead Moby on it. I'm like, now I don't want to listen to his podcast.
Well, every now and then there is a line that can be crossed, but every now and then it's a good thing to introduce somebody with an opposing view to your own. Like, well, even in this show.
I agree with an opposing view. What I don't agree with is an ignorant view. I don't agree with a view that has no basis behind it.
But sometimes the opposite view from your own is ignorant. And
right.
It's often the case.
Yeah, but again, when you look at it and you're like, from my standpoint, from the veterans I know, from the veterans that I've taken care of, that just makes him a piece of shit because he's not even really fully understanding what it means. He doesn't know what it means to be in the military, and he's talking like he does. He doesn't know what it means to be a veteran, and he's talking like he does. Do you know that I've taken care of a lot of World War II veterans and Korean veterans who were captured, prisoners of war? I've taken care of. I had one of my veterans was at the Battle of Guadalcanal for like the whole thing. He lied to get in the military and was in the military from the age of 16 on, through all that shit, and they would still go fight today. I have veterans who were in wheelchairs. If you had given them a gun, they'd fight today. And that's what a true patriot is. And then you have some piece of shit who clearly can't even play a fucking instrument. Got to program everything into a fucking computer, and he's a fucking genius, whatever, who wants to talk shit about the veterans of this country, who gave him every right. The reason why he has the ability to even say what he says is because of the veterans. But he's just another piece of shit entertainer who wants to run his fucking mouth about stuff he doesn't know anything about.
Anybody who would like to challenge the idea that these veterans made the sacrifices they did and gave people the rights they have today ought to watch a show called The Man in High Castle. And it's basically America today if Germany had won the war. So in this show, Germany owned the eastern half and Japan owned the western half of the United States. They split it because in that reality, the Germans came up with the atomic bomb first and used it and forced us to surrender instead of the other way around. And yeah, you want to talk about just what these people's sacrifices gave to us. That's a good example to contrast and show, what life might be like today if they hadn't have done what they did. So it's huge.
So we'd be making iPhones. No, it's China. Or is Japan? Who makes
It's
the iPhone?
China.
Yeah, China. The technology comes from Japan.
Some 10-year-old in China,
So if it was split that way, are you able to go between the two? Like, can I get sushi on one side and then get Wiener Schnitzel on the other?
If you have papers. The show is complicated, but that's what makes it interesting, especially when I don't want to ruin it for people. So if you're planning on watching the show, step away for about, say, 30 seconds. So especially in the part when some films turn up that came from the reality that we have today, showing America that had won the war, and they're trying to figure out where it came from. And supposedly there's a parallel universe.
Oh, no, alternate, yeah.
Yeah, and then it really gets interesting. I haven't seen season 2 yet, so that's something I plan on doing soon.
Oh, okay. I've heard about that show. I haven't watched it or anything. But I don't know. And it all just comes. This just all is based off of just hearing bullshit. I just can't even believe it. I hope that's not even true. But I'm telling you right now that people are in for an ass whooping if that's the case. If people want to call themselves that. Okay, fine, call themselves that, and then we just call ourselves something else, I guess. How about a true patriot? How about that?
No, we shouldn't have to change anything. If they want to call themselves patriots, that's fine, because technically it kind of fits. But don't take something away from. They complain about cultural appropriation. Well, fucking A, that's cultural appropriation. We should not have to change the definition of the word veteran because some asshole decides that he wants to be a veteran too, but doesn't want to go and pick up a gun and go put his life on the line for the country. And I don't know.
The whole thing makes me sick because when you look at all the things that we've, all the ways we've come, and it's not like I do it, but, years ago they passed, the Congress or whoever passed a law saying that we could salute the flag as veterans. They play the national anthem, everything. You can salute the flag. You don't have to
putting your hand
over
your
hand over your heart. If you want to, you can salute the flag. That's completely legal, and I don't do it, but I'm glad that they did it. Not because it was something that I was very proud of when I was in the military, being able to be allowed to salute the flag, as a member of the armed forces. And then when I got out, it was very hard not to do that. I felt like something was taken from me that I had earned. And so it took me years to get used to just putting my hand over my heart or whatever, and now I could salute the flag if I wanted to. I don't, but being able to do it is phenomenal. So the kids getting out now, if they wanted to salute the flag, they could.
So speaking of the anthem and the flag, what are your thoughts on that whole Colin Kaepernick thing?
I'd like to shove my foot up his ass. So basically what he did was you took somebody who was a mediocre football player going nowhere, and he's just a lazy piece of shit, and decided he was going to make, quote, a statement. He wasn't making a statement. He just wanted to capitalize on being a lazy fucking bastard.
That's the kind of asshole that they want to make. They want to give the veteran title to for doing what he did.
Right. But do you think he did that because of why he says he did it? Fuck no.
Who knows why he did it?
Because he's a lazy piece of shit and didn't want to freaking show proper respect. He's just another entitled prick.
Right. It's the entitlement.
He's just an entitled prick who was not even a good football player in the first fucking place. But now he's somebody. Fuck him. You know, when they talk about all this shit, and trying to say that the NFL can't tell its players that they can't do that, why the fuck not?
Okay,
you can't tell me. Well, you can't. I can't do whatever I want at work. That's a fucking job.
Now
you're telling me you can't tell me what to do?
They're on camera. They're on the field during that's their on the clock time. Whatever the football team says goes, and if they can't do that, then they don't belong there. Now, if the owners of the team condoned it and said, "Yeah, you can kneel if you want," well, then that's okay in that case. But when the owners of the team say, "No, you're not supposed to kneel. You're supposed to stand at attention with your hand over your heart. These are the rules." By God, that's what they better be doing. Otherwise, they should be fired. It's not a hero. It's just fucking stupid.
No, it's just another prick. Just another entitled prick.
Consider an actor going on to set and saying, "You know what? I don't agree with the script. It goes against my political beliefs. So I'm just going to substitute the script and whatever with what I feel is right. Screw all you writers. You guys are evil bastards." How long is that actor going to stay in the movie? That movie's either going to get shut down, or they're going to get a new actor.
Oh, either that, or they'll get a new actor, or they'll rewrite the script so that when he says bullshit, they'll have a voice actor voice over it. But it's just like the douchebags who protest. They protest. They're always saying how guns are wrong, but they use them in their movies.
Right.
All the time. I'm like, okay, whatever. Shut the fuck up. You made a lot of money off of this action film, and now you're talking shit about guns. Okay. But no, these fuckers, these professional athletes, one, why on earth do we pay professional athletes so much fucking money? I don't understand that. They're just fucking athletes. Okay? Other countries don't pay their athletes that fucking much. Why aren't we focusing money where money's important?
Because
why don't we pay teachers well? Why don't we have teachers to a higher standard and pay teachers
so much money
more?
in the sports industry. College football, I think even more than professional, for example. There is so much money involved in that whole world, I guess you could call it, that I think the only reason why there's so much free money going around that makes the owners of the teams and everything so rich is because, like, the stadium that they play in, that's paid for by taxes. Mm-hmm. These guys didn't pay a dime for that stadium, but yet they treat it like it's their own, even though it's taxpayer bought and paid for.
Well, that's
why they have so much money.
Why? Yeah, but why is there such a focus on paying them so much money? Just like, why do we pay entertainers so much money? Why do we pay athletes so much money? What's their contribution other than to keep us entertained? That's a contribution that benefits my life in some major way. Why are we not? I mean, look at what professions are truly important to our way of life. What professions are truly important to our way of life?
Firstly,
I don't know.
Anything in the medical field, anything in the military, anything in police,
education, fire, EMS.
Except for my sociology, that shouldn't be there.
Well, but when you talk about that though, giving them a wage that they should have. College professors don't make very much money.
No,
I know
they
because I've looked at being one, and I'm like, I don't want the pay cut. I don't want the amount of work that I would have to do and have a pay cut. A substantial pay cut, like $40,000 pay cut.
I don't know. Most teachers that I've seen, I don't think they work all that hard.
Well, my workload when I looked at it would have been quite substantial. So, again, though, pay people for their contribution. like to a real contribution. I mean, if you look at, I mean, our military is like on food fucking stamps. I mean, you got people married that, people married with spouses, they don't make shit for money. They're actually, you can make more money now by re-enlisting and them giving you lots of money to stay in, but what good is it if you're that young and you don't even understand that you should be saving your money? They don't even know that. You've got children with guns not making shit for money, and then the next thing you know, they're getting married too and having children and everything. So you've got children with children. It's just this crazy cycle, but we're not paying them what they're worth. I'm going to pay somebody who's going to go carry a gun and risk their life freaking peanuts. They can get out and become contractors and make a shitload of money.
My son is in Afghanistan now, and he's probably making somewhere around 20 grand a year. I'm betting. Maybe a little more.
Yeah, but think about all the free stuff he gets. He gets free room and board. He gets free
sand,
meals.
free
He gets free
sun.
meals. He gets free sun. They probably throw in some sunblock for him. He probably gets to fill some sandbags, put up like concertina wire, do all kinds of cool stuff like that. He's learning a skill.
Yeah.
It doesn't translate to the civilian world, but he's learning a skill. He gets to, but still, again, when you look at the amount of money, I have a friend who was in the Gulf War, and he was a Marine, and he just, instead of when he was getting out, he stayed there. He actually stayed there and became a contractor for a little while, and he made really good money. But when you look at that and you go, and they're trying to get you to re-enlist, and somebody's saying, hey, you want to re-enlist for 20 grand a year? And somebody's saying, do you want to be a contractor for $120,000 a year?
Go where the money's at.
Tax-free. Where are you going to go?
You're going to go with the money.
Yeah, but again, what self-worth does it give to our folks when they see that? Just like what self-worth does it give to and I'll admit, paramedics are not running their ass off their entire shift. There's a lot of downtime, but they have to be ready to go at any point in time. But how much money does a paramedic make? They don't make shit.
From what I've seen, right around $15 an hour.
That's nothing.
Right.
$15 an hour is nothing. That's nothing.
I would think a reasonable wage for somebody with, even paramedics, they have to go through a certain level of education, should be making 18 to 20, realistically.
Well, it's not so much that it's not like you wouldn't call their education super extensive. But the amount of responsibility that they have can measure with the type of education that they have that's very focused. Their education is very focused. It's
right.
This emergency piece.
Little mistakes cost.
And it's very important.
Big consequences.
Their time is a factor, and somebody's going to live or they're going to die. So what they're doing is extremely essential. Are they having that life-threatening case every freaking call they go on? No. But they have to be ready for it. So when you're talking about, yeah, I'm going to pay them $15 an hour when they could go wipe ass at a nursing home for that, you can clearly see that we're not paying them enough money. Shit, even the people in the nursing home are not paying enough money. We're entrusting them with our old people, and we're not paying shit. How much does that say about how much we actually give a shit about this country and our people?
When I worked at the hospital, I wish I made $15 an hour. I think they were paying me $11.
Yeah, I made $11.
12 with the shift premium, because I worked at night.
Yeah. But even then, the amount that you had to know compared to what a paramedic has to know is nothing. If you were a nurse aide, what was your school? 2 weeks long? And what did you learn? You learned how to take vital signs and learn how to wipe somebody's ass and how to roll them. Okay? The big difference between that being out in a rig or having to retrieve somebody who's a gunshot wound from a dangerous site, and the police aren't there, or the police haven't come back yet, or they haven't come in yet, and you've got to get somebody out who's dying.
All the first responder stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So, but we're paying them nothing. And I'm not saying when you look at teachers and things like that, I'm not saying teachers should be millionaires either, because there's plenty of teachers who I think aren't worth shit. But let's make the standards higher. Let's make their pay higher.
At the same time, I would like to say that I feel that the minimum wage should be higher, but the problem, if we raise minimum wage, then all the companies and everything will just raise the price and cost of everything. and it will solve nothing.
Well, I don't know, and that's kind of my opinion too, is the whole minimum wage. If you want to raise it, who are we really raising it for? Because minimum wage and these entry-level jobs were not meant for a 45-year-old who never did a fucking thing with his life and has just been, working at McDonald's and didn't even try to become management, which would be an awesome job at McDonald's. It's for high school kids, second job, Mom wants an extra little bit of money. Dad wants a little bit extra money. That's what those jobs are for. That's not your career. And that's what raising the minimum wage does,
What I would say is leave the minimum wage where it's at. And instead of raising the minimum wage, require that that companies offer like a profit sharing plan. That way, if the company does well, then the people get a raise. If the company doesn't do well, then they don't get a raise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Simple.
Well, I mean, that's never going to happen because when you're talking
because
about,
it would work.
Like who's the largest? I mean, like who's probably the largest employers of like minimum wage, in general that we know of off
Like
the top of our heads. Walmart, McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the biggies. And when you think about it, you're like, why would we want to? I don't know. To me, it's just like, why would we want to raise the minimum wages at those places and just tell people it's okay to work there the rest of your fucking life?
If somebody can be happy doing that, I got no problem with it. I'm not going to judge. Some people just aren't cut out for going to school and doing these. I mean, you don't want just anybody showing up in the nursing field, for example, because these people have different ethics and everything like that. And
well, that's fine. What I'm saying is, how much are we going to keep raising it, though? If you're going to raise the minimum wage, but you have people with set wages that never raise, how can you justify that discrepancy when it goes just like we were talking about the paramedic?
Well,
if you raise the minimum wage to $10 an hour, is that really going to raise the paramedic's wage who's not working for a minimum wage?
No, it hurts. It hurts. Raising the minimum wage hurts anybody who makes more than minimum wage. It makes the value of their position lower. But if they make it across the board, all companies have to pay their employees a profit sharing. So when the company does well, the people do well. If they all had to do that, there'd be no getting around it. The company could raise the prices of their food to try and recoup that, but then their profits might go down because people wouldn't buy it. So the company would have to just pay the employees more.
I think it's more likely that what will happen,
or take a bigger loss than what they already would be taking.
I think more than what the likelihood is actually the more they push for increasing the minimum wage for these jobs that are not considered skilled labor, the more likely they are is just to get themselves out of a job, and the robots will be serving us hamburgers.
Probably.
And people want to argue like, robots can't serve us hamburgers. You fucking idiots! They make our cars. They do all kinds of technical stuff, and you think they can't flip your burger? Come on.
Well, they've already done it with the cash registers. You go up and the screen is facing the customer, and you push the buttons just like they do behind the counter. So you're basically serving yourself as far as placing your order.
But people want to make the ignorant argument that a robot can't make a hamburger. I'm like, they put your cars together, fuckhead.
You know what's scary is the last time I got a sandwich from McDonald's, that thing was a fucking train wreck. The robot would probably do a much neater and better job of it.
Well, yeah, they're not going to overcook it. They're not going to undercook it. There's that human error factor. They're going to have
the cheese centered on the burger correctly, and the pickles are going to be spread out correctly, and things like that.
Yeah.
To where the last time I ordered a cheeseburger from McDonald's, the cheese was hanging half off, the bun was hanging on the other half, and there was lettuce everywhere. It was a mess.
You still fucking ate it.
Huh?
But you still fucking ate it.
Sure I did. I didn't want to. I was hungry, damn it. But what do you do? I mean, I think that there's probably more important things than the minimum wage anyway that we need to worry about first. The cost of education is ridiculous. like for example, the tuition at the community colleges, even the private colleges, is just outrageous. And the reason why is because the government gets involved and tries to say, oh, well, these disadvantaged people, we're going to give them money, and so they can afford to go to college. Well, the college says, they look at that and they see, oh, well, if poor people are just going to have money given to them, we can set the rates at whatever we want, and the government's going to pay it, and the poor people will still come. So, yeah, they open the doors. Hey, everybody come on in, especially you poor people, because, we're charging ridiculous amounts of money. So the rich people, well, they're rich. What do they care? You know what I mean? But the poor people, they don't care either because the government's paying their dime.
Well, yeah, but in the smart people who are quote unquote poor, who are making below, what they call the poverty level, they're getting, they're getting the free child care.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting the free, free food. They're getting all these nice, cell phone, whatever. People that are really working the system. Obviously, that's not everybody. There's people that really need the system, but there's people who just work the system.
I know a lot of people.
A lot of people I've known a lot of people like that too. And when you look at it, you're like, why am I working? Why am I busting my butt? When you look at, when your paycheck at the end of the day, I look at my paycheck, my son was complaining about his when he got his paycheck, and I said, okay, you want me to make you sick? Here, let me show you mine. And he's like, that's more than they take more out of your paycheck than I make in a couple of weeks. I'm like, yep. Or actually a lot more than that, but that's sickening. So what's your incentive to work? My wife and I kind of joked a long time ago, we should just get a divorce. We'd actually make more money if we got a divorce. If I had to pay her child support, and then her income drops, and you could actually make more money that way, and it's ridiculous. There's no incentivizing. So yeah, the richer are richer, the poor get to either manipulate the system. The smart poor people are manipulating the system, and the other ones are so dependent upon the government and just sitting back and getting fat and more dependent on the government, which is what the government wants.
Well, the medical system's got the same problem. Because the insurance gets involved, and then you have Medicaid, more government money, and the more government money they pour into it, then the hospitals, they can raise the rates, the costs, to be whatever they want, because they know that the insurance or the government's going to pay for it all.
Well, but Medicare won't. Medicare is going to tell you what they're going to pay, whether you like it or not. It's different when you talk about the state level, because then you're talking about Medicaid. So,
well, the insurance companies pay what Medicare doesn't.
But if you're smart, you can get Medicaid and Medicare, depending if you've got disability or not. So you can work that system that way too. And then you can go see the emergency room for a case of the sniffles.
Yeah.
And not have to pay, and, not have to pay a deductible or not have to pay a copay or whatever. And then somebody, Charlie Jojo down the road here who's having a heart attack is waiting to get a bed while you're, seeing the ER doctor for sniffles. So it's a whole completely jacked up system. But yeah, education costs too much. When if you ask, people in foreign countries, some of the foreign countries, you're like, how much did you pay for college? They're like, what are you talking about?
It's free over there.
How much did I pay for college? I didn't pay for college. What are you fucking talking about? I didn't pay for college. Yeah. And,
I had to take a second mortgage on my house to go to college.
Yeah, and here we are sitting okay, so we're supposed to be, this advantaged country when we're just getting screwed left and right. I always knew I was going to go in the military. That was always what I always wanted to do. Getting, a college funding to go to college was a benefit. Then I didn't have to take out loans, and I didn't have to, borrow money from my parents or anything. But, it's not everybody has that option, and some people don't want to go in the military. And I think anybody who goes in the military just for the college money is a fucking retard. But that option's out there too. But that's what you had to subject yourself to. Because that's how the country is. Either you're going to start off your life in debt when you're done with college, or you're lucky enough to have, parents who are well off who can pay for it, or you got parents who are willing to take out a loan that they're going to be paying off for the next freaking 10 freaking years of their life.
Hell, I have to struggle just to get a loan so I can go to school. I couldn't imagine the idea of trying to get one from, get one for the kids so they can go too.
That's just a completely messed up situation. It just drives you nuts. You could think about it all the time and just get pissed off about it and just shake your head.
Well, that's my point being is that those are the things that really do need to get fixed first. We need to fix our education. We need education to be easy to get and inexpensive. And we need our medical system to be, again, easy to get and inexpensive. And I know that would mean that like nurses would probably not get paid as much and things like that, but shit, it's too much.
Well, see, I don't think that would happen because the majority of the money that's spent is not on nursing salaries. So the majority of the money that is spent is on physicians. You know, they're making hand over fist money. So
Malpractice insurance and things like that.
well, not even that. I mean, I'm just talking. They just make so much money comparatively. When you look at even if you had a socialized, medical system, technically a nurse's wage would not be affected at all. It would not drop. And the reason why is this: nursing care doesn't get billed in the first place. So you're not losing money on nursing and you're not making money off of nursing.
So nurses are considered like an administrative expense.
It is all rolled in.
Okay.
So that's not where the money goes. The money doesn't go to pay nurse salaries. It doesn't go to pay, nurse aide salaries. It doesn't go to pay housekeeper salaries. That stuff, it goes to pay these large groups, these, physicians that are making, I mean, even if you talk about, if you compare their salary to mine, you're talking 3 to 4 or 5 times more depending on what specialty they're in. So no, nursing doesn't bill, and that's why the whole system is screwy. So even if you had, and people complain about that, I'm like, yeah, if you had socialized medicine, that wage isn't going to drop. What's going to drop is how much you're paying for insurance. What's going to drop is how much the physicians make, and that's why you won't ever have socialized medicine in this country. Because they won't. They've got lobbyists. They've got the money to pay the lobbyists. They've got the money to give to politicians.
All it's going to take is for a few groups to pop up and start the health club membership like we were talking about before. I think that has a lot of potential to maybe not change the system but bypass it altogether.
Yeah, but what will happen is if that becomes too popular and takes business away from the machine, they find a way to stop it.
They'll crush it.
Either they'll give them enough money to stop, or they'll hit them with litigation, do something. They'll figure out some way to squash it.
What you're doing is illegal because it's taking money away from us.
Right, but it's not illegal. It's just like malpractice insurance. You don't have to have malpractice. It's not required to have malpractice insurance.
I thought it was.
No, fuck no. Why the hell do I need malpractice insurance? I don't technically need malpractice insurance. Why did malpractice insurance come about? Well, for more than one reason. There's money-grubbing people out there who want to sue for anything, and there's shitty doctors and shitty providers who fuck shit up and they get sued because they didn't do the right thing. That's why you have malpractice insurance. If you did a good job and you actually gave a shit and you didn't have patients who wanted to sue for no apparent reason, then there would be no reason in the first place. But hey, if you had socialized medicine, there wouldn't be malpractice insurance. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. And maybe we'd actually have some decent outcomes instead of shitty ones.
Yeah, too many times the doctor says one thing and something else happens, or like days before my dad died, the doctor was still saying, oh yeah, you guys might be fishing in the spring. That asshole, he knew exactly what was going on, and he was sitting there feeding me a line of crap. He knew that my dad wasn't going to make it.
Well, he did say might. Yeah. No.
Realistically. He knew.
Well, we've gone off on quite a few tangents today, as always. On the plus side, not one time did you mention religion.
Wow. Why is that a plus side?
Well, I just wanted to see if we could make it one time without you mentioning religion. So this wraps up episode
6?
5. 5? 6.
6.
Episode 6. Episode 6. Yeah, you're right. It says so on my computer. Episode 6. This wraps up episode 6. So pay attention. Stay tuned for next time. I don't know what we're going to do next time. We're not going to tell you anymore. You're just going to have to pay attention.
I'm working on a catchphrase for the end of the show.
Oh, I can't wait.
But I don't know. I haven't settled on
So then we'll
anything
let you say goodbye first then, since you don't have a catchphrase.
See ya.
All right, this is the Beaveman saying adios, mooch fuckos.